Hello everyone and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is episode 7 of the Maxwell Files. Right now, Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in a jail cell, and she's wondering how she can get out from underneath the incredible weight that is coming her way. Unfortunately for her, there's no way out. The only hope that she has at this point is that she has information that can lighten her sentence a little bit. That at some point, maybe, she can get some sort of parole 20 years down the road. Because without giving up information, without her coming forward and ratting out others who were involved, then this whole entire thing is going to be laid right at her feet. And somebody who's that much into self-preservation will not sit for it. We've already heard about the sex tapes. We heard about all of the dirt that Ghislaine Maxwell supposedly has. And her lawyer, Christian Everdell, is the kind of guy that is definitely going to be looking for a plea. He is definitely going to try and have Ghislaine Maxwell flipping on people right now, because he knows that's in the best interest of his client, and the only way that she will ever possibly get any sort of leniency, meaning a few years shaved off of her sentence, is if she rolls over and rats on everybody else. But she finds herself in an odd predicament, because right now she is the head of the snake, right? She is the last woman standing, the last person standing who was involved in this sex trafficking ring from a leadership role, as far as the government is willing to go anyway. We know that it runs much deeper. We know that there's the intelligence aspect to this and how this was a blackmail operation, etc., etc. But they haven't even come out and talked about that in the legacy media or with the prosecution. But we all understand the consequences here. We all understand the great amount of weight that is thrown on Ghislaine Maxwell here. And if you don't think she's going to roll over, and you don't think she's going to crack, well, you have not been paying attention to the way criminals behave. All right, so this article is from the WPBF.com, WestPalmBeach.com. The headline, Queen for a Day, How Ghislaine Maxwell Could Be Striking a Deal with Prosecutors. This article was authored by Terry Parker. As Ghislaine Maxwell's first New York court appearance looms next week, she could be working behind the scenes to hammer out a plea agreement using a federal court tool known as Queen for a Day. Now, when you use this tool called Queen for a Day, that means you are giving up everything. If you use this tool and your lawyer uses this tool, you have to give up every last thing you know during that session. If not, all of that stuff could be used against you in court. Cooperation, cooperation, cooperation. It's not even an issue. Federal criminal defense attorney Greg Lerman said Maxwell's attorneys are likely urging her right now. And we've talked about this. 100% Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys are trying to get her to talk. They know that she has a lot of valuable information. And we all know that as well. The question is, how much of that valuable information is going to be used to get other convictions? And that's what the prosecutors are likely trying to figure out right now. What they can use to pursue other people and what is just junk and garbage. So I'd be very interested to see what this proffer agreement looks like, if there ever is one, boy. God, I would love to see that. Lerman said Maxwell could be striking a deal using what's known as the Queen for a Day proffer. And we were just talking about that. It's one of those tools that the federal government uses to entice people with to rat on others in their criminal organization. Because remember, that's how these RICO cases are made. It's all about snatching people up that are in the organization and having them roll over on others, and you build your case that way and it begins to snowball. And when you have so many people willing to testify, it becomes a real long, hard road to navigate for the accused. And that's what could be lining up here against Ghislaine Maxwell, right? There could be, right now as we speak, there could be other people who are caught up in this, the core four, others who have knowledge, whatever it may be, and their indictments are just sealed currently. Because we know that Ghislaine Maxwell's indictment was also sealed until the whole thing got rolling. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes right now. Obviously, I don't have an inside line on knowing exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but I will tell you this. There is a lot more happening than just Ghislaine Maxwell being questioned. Just like it says, you're the queen for the day. You get to talk about what you know, who you know, and that information cannot be used against you, said Lerman, who has no ties to the Maxwell case. And that's for sure. That's what happens. Anything you say that day can't be used against you, but you have to be completely truthful with everything you have ever done. And it doesn't mean that they're going to use what you tell them, right? Because again, it has to be a bigger trophy than Maxwell. They're not going to give her any sort of leniency if she is shooting down the pecking order. This is going to have to be a big time nail, right? A public official, ex or current, some sort of business mogul. And even then, that's not enough, I don't think, unless it's a Les Wexner. But I'm very interested to see how this all plays out. Queen for a Day letters are written agreements between federal prosecutors and defendants. In a one-day oral session, the accused can reveal with immunity all of the evidence they can bring to the table with the assumption the government will agree to cut a deal in their case. And we see this a lot in federal cases, folks. Deals are cut all the time. But in this case, specifically, I think that Ghislaine Maxwell, while she might get herself cut a bit of a deal, a bit of leniency if she can offer something up, there is no way that she is ever going to get a sweetheart deal out of this. She has done too much. She has been involved in too much. And I don't think she has the information that's needed to get somebody big enough to replace her. So I'm very interested to see what she has, because again, I could be wrong, right? She might have the goods on somebody, a Clinton or a Trump or who else, who knows who else, that really brings everything crumbling down around these people's ears. And if she has that kind of information, then you can most assuredly expect her to be cutting a deal right now with the prosecutors as we speak. Prosecutors cannot use the evidence given in the session against the defendant, but can pursue other co-conspirators based on what the defendant tells them and can back up with documents or photos or other corroborating items. This is very interesting because Ghislaine Maxwell most certainly can punch down the chain, right? And if she wraps up maybe all of the core four and say Jean-Luc Brunel in a bow, maybe that's enough for her to get some leniency from the court. But again, when I say leniency, I highly doubt it's going to be anything that you would even think would be something you could look at and say, oh man, she's catching a serious break here. Because I don't think she's going to be able to catch a break for what she has done. I think the crimes against the children are so heinous that a judge, if the judge is in their right mind, obviously, will look at all of the evidence and he's going to go rough on the defense here. And I would not be shocked if a jury was completely disgusted and just absolutely threw the book at Maxwell, no matter the information that she gave. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, folks. 100% we are in for an absolute wild ride right now. In this case, the deal would be with one person who for years was the key insider and by the side of accused and mysterious underage sex trafficker, pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The one person who knows is Maxwell. She knows what happened beyond the photograph, beyond the toast of champagne. She knows who the skeletons in the closet are, who hung out with Mr. Epstein, who went to the island, the mansion, and she can provide that information, said Lerman. And this is what I was talking about too, right? She is the one who holds the keys to where all the bodies are buried. So again, I'm on the fence here, folks. I don't really know which way I'm bending as far as what she can give up and if that's going to be enough for the prosecution to get into bed with this serpent. It's amazing to watch how this is all unfolding right now. And it's amazing to think where we are and to where we are now, considering nobody thought Ghislaine Maxwell was going to get arrested anytime soon. Never mind right now, this quickly, right? So everything's happening very fast. Everything's unfolding at a rapid pace. And we're just trying to keep up at this point. So she has all of the dirt. She knows all of the people that were involved. She knows all of the people that were getting quote unquote massages. She was the one that was in charge of procuring these girls. She was, according to Maria, when you listen to what Maria had to say, she was really good friends with Trump's ex-wife. And they used to drive around together. You know, look, she has a lot of information. And the fact that this case is being handled by the department that's in charge of public corruption is very interesting too, and it's a very telling factor in this case. The U.S. Attorney's Office has said repeatedly it is investigating possible Epstein co-conspirators and is looking to talk to people who may have information about Epstein's sex trafficking, including Prince Andrew, whom Maxwell introduced to Epstein. And this is a very important factor here, right? The government wants to talk to Andrew. They say he's a witness, but as I talked about last night, I highly doubt once he's in that chair, he's going to be looked at as a witness. And if Maxwell is spilling the beans right now, and Maxwell is ratting out Andrew, and Maxwell hands over emails to Andrew from Andrew about Ghislaine Maxwell to the authorities, can you imagine how this could explode? Can you imagine if the FBI has tangible evidence as well as Virginia's statements that Andrew was involved in this? Can you imagine what this will do, how this will explode? Ghislaine Maxwell on the stand testifying against Prince Andrew? Oh boy. The only caveat, if prosecutors discover someone lies during the Queen for a Day session, the agreement becomes null and void and the information can be used against the defendant in court. So I think that if they offer the Queen for a Day proffer, then she'll have to give up Andrew and everybody else involved. But if she sticks to her guns and she says she doesn't want to talk about Andrew, this kind of proffer will be off the table and it will be a piecemeal kind of deal. Lerman said most Queen for a Day agreements end with prosecutors agreeing to fewer or lesser charges in some cases, filing a motion with the judge saying the cooperating witness should get a lesser sentence. And that's what I was talking about as well. It doesn't mean she's going to get off if she cooperates. Instead of 35, she might get 20. So it really comes down to what the judge and the jury and the prosecutors all think about the people that she's sending up the line, about the people that she's ratting on, about the people that she is trying to throw into the deep end to save herself. Maxwell, 58, is being held in a small cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center, facing up to 35 years if convicted on 4 counts of sex trafficking minors and 2 counts of perjury. And remember, I highly doubt that these are the only charges. These are the charges as of now. But once other people start to get arrested and start to get brought in, you'll see more of the criminal conspiracy type things start to blow up. Lerman said most Queen for a Day agreements are struck early on in a case. She has every reason to cooperate quickly and not later. It is rare to happen later. It is more likely it is happening as we speak, said Lerman. And that's what I've been saying too. The second she gets brought in, she's going to flip. She can't take the pressure from a seasoned interrogator. She's getting hammered right now as we speak. What do you think? The investigators aren't all over her, sitting down with her, letting her know the deal? Oh, they are. And Ghislaine Maxwell is not built for this life. Maxwell's bail hearing will be held Tuesday via video. Prosecutors are arguing for no bail, saying in court documents Maxwell is an extreme flight risk. And we've discussed that as well. She should not get bail. I don't care about the coronavirus. I don't care if there's a smallpox outbreak. I don't care if there is an airborne version of Ebola ripping through the jail. She should not get bail. Move her to a different facility. I heard one guy talking today about moving her to Rikers Island and letting the New York correctional authorities keep an eye on her instead of the moronic feds. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't think I'd be upset at that either. At the end of the day, Maxwell has to be safeguarded like nobody has ever been safeguarded before. And it is up to the federal government to withhold their end of the bargain for once and make sure that this lady shows up ready to go in court to face those she abused for so long, to face all of those people whose lives she ruined. It is up to the federal government to make sure that that day arrives. And with their track record, well, they shouldn't be surprised that people have questions, that people have concerns. Ghislaine Maxwell and the rest of these co-conspirators, their time is up. The party is over. Names are being named, and soon sentences will be distributed. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. Inside of the description box, all links pertaining to the podcast you'll be able to find right in there. All right, everybody, until later on,